Hello. I'm sure a lot of you noticed that it's getting pretty cold again. You know, seasons come, winter's approaching. We're in the middle of fall. A lot of us are wearing hoodies, sweaters, and scarves, beanies. But what if I told you that as humans we have the ability to grow a thin layer of hair over our whole bodies and our face? Is anyone interested in something like that? Well, actually, some people don't have a choice about that. It's a physical side effect of the emotional disorder anorexia nervosa. I've been on campus. I'm taking a class called Nutrition and Health, and we talk about we've recently been talking about eating disorders, and I was shocked to hear what people were doing to themselves. Anorexia nervosa, or anorexia, I'll call it from now on, is defined by the National Association of Eating Disorders as the fear of gaining weight, self-starvation, a distorted view of body image brought on by an emotional disorder, and it leads a person to worry excessively about their body and appearance. A lot of people think that this affects only women, but about 10% of the cases are also men suffer from this as well, and a lot of people call it manorexia. Today I want to discuss for you the dangers of anorexia. So what is anorexia? I'll be starting talking about this in three different parts. The first part being discussing to you what anorexia is. Next I'll be discussing to you how, when someone is anorexic, the effects that the body has, what their practices do to their body, and also warning signs and ways to help someone you might think might be suffering from this. I have a picture here to show you someone who actually is suffering from anorexia. Well, I guess you can see it from there. You can see how thin she is. An anorexic person, actually anorexia is essentially self-starvation. Someone with anorexia will take in so little nutrients, so little calories that because of their fear, they will drink a lot of water just in order so they can feel fuller throughout the day. And according to my textbook, nutrition class, it's called Nutrition Concepts and Controversies, someone with anorexia will be accustomed to feeling full on so little as half a dozen carrot sticks, and they'll be fine for them because of just how acclimated they've become. Also, someone with anorexia will have a great knowledge of, vast knowledge of all caloric content, fat amounts, carb amounts. They'll just know everything. It's much like someone who's really into sports. They'll know all the stats of their favorite players. They'll know just about everything about the food they take in, so they'll take in so little of it, and or just avoid it altogether. Much like bulimia, some of you are aware, someone who's anorexic will also what's called binging and purging. And what binging and purging is they'll eat a certain amount of food and they'll feel guilty about it, and they'll induce vomiting or take laxatives and just get rid of all the nutrients out of the body so they don't gain any weight because of the fear. Also, another part of anorexia that doesn't have to do with people with food coming in and out of their mouths is excessive exercise. They'll just want to burn off what little they're taking in just so they'll feel like, oh, they didn't gain any weight or everything's cool. This takes a huge toll on the body. Eating so little does big damage. Well, that's cool now. Your body, because of so little nutrients it's taking in, goes to a slowdown mode. Its heart and pulse, the heart rate and the pulse rate will slow down, and a lot of people, those who die from anorexia will die from heart failure because their ticket just has no power to go on anymore. It has no nutrients. Also, because of malnutrition, the body tissues and immunity just goes down, just goes way down, and they'll become more susceptible to disease and infection. And osteoporosis sets in. Osteoporosis is brittle bones or holey bones or porous bones, and they'll just their bones will be able to break so easily without having any food at all. Also, what I talked about at the beginning of the speech, this thin layer of fur on their body, it's called lanego. It happens because all the fat reserves are out of the body and they can't stay. They feel cold, and the body will induce this fur just to grow over their whole body, and it is not pretty. I actually have I don't have a picture of that, but I do have a picture of the effects on the body, some of the things I had mentioned, as well as you'll see here. Okay, well, but you read that if you want to talk about this. These people need your help. The biggest challenge of helping someone with anorexia is showing them they do have a problem. A lot of people who actually get help it's in the later stages, and it's more obvious. This is actually a view of someone how they actually see themselves and actually how they actually are, how thin they are. According to, here's some symptoms that you can watch out for someone you might be concerned with. Yellow skin, blotchy skin, dry mouth, depression, significant drop in weight, sensitive to the cold. For women, they'll have no menstruation. They'll have slow memory, poor judgment, confusion, always in the way of the muscles and fat. This is very serious. About 5 to 10% of people who suffer from anorexia will die within 10 years of first getting anorexia, and by 18 to 20% of people will die within 20 years of having anorexia. Only 30 to 40% of people will recover from having anorexia. Another warning sign for you to see if you want to help somebody is they'll be very critical of their weight. They'll think even though they're really thin, they'll think they're really fat, and they say, I need to lose weight, and they'll also constantly be talking about this. This is probably the most warning sign that everyone kind of be alerted to fast, because we all notice people doing that. If you know someone who might be anorexic, encourage them to get help. Tell them they're not alone. When someone gets help from anorexia, it comes in two parts. The first part is getting them to eating correctly, getting all their systems working, all their organs working back to normal. And also, the second part would be actually addressing their psychological, emotional issue that's causing them to be anorexic in the first place. If everyone wants to help or needs a resource to help somebody, NationalEatingDisorders.org has all the information that helped me when I was looking for information about this topic, and it just has all the tools, PDFs, everything, videos for you to help them. Okay, and I've discussed for you today anorexia in 3 parts. I showed you what anorexia is, what someone does who is anorexic, and the dangers of their bodies, the dangers it do to their bodies, the effects on their bodies, and also how you can help them. I hope if you know someone with this, it's very life-threatening, and just help them out, tell them they're not alone, and this is a life or death matter. Thank you.
All right. It was kind of interesting, the visualization that you had at the opening, and it's not obviously connected to the subject, but you find a way that it connects later on, and I thought that it worked pretty well. Your thesis is fine. There's a good preview, although you kind of got to an awkward spot when you were trying to get to that preview. It's almost like you forgot it and then you jumped back in. And I mention that only because it's one of the few things that I saw that was problematic in the presentation. Otherwise, I thought everything was really, really solid. You did a very good job talking to the audience. You were always engaged. You distributed your attention. Your face is animated while you're talking to us. You have notes, but you only rely on them when you need a brief reminder about what's next, or you're looking for a key piece of information, and they're relatively small, so you can hold them in one hand and it doesn't keep you from gesturing or being involved in the presentation. So I thought that was really effective. I thought you used your voice exceptionally well. You've got a good forceful projection from the beginning. There's a lot of variety in your voice. You're not overdoing it, but you are using the full range of your voice, which is good. The only thing that maybe is a little bit problematic with the voice, and I say that teeny tiny bit, you got a few ums and uhs just as transition issues. I didn't think it was too distracting, but that's something that you could probably do a better job on. The practice seems like you really knew the material well, you knew what you were trying to say, that you were engaged and interested in talking to the audience about the subject, and I thought that came across very successfully. All right, thank you.